Welcome to The Pivot. My name is Andrew Osenga, and today my guest is me. It's the week of Christmas. Everybody's kind of winding down before holidays, Christmas and New Year's, and so I thought I would do a little recap of the year that we've just had and the year we're stepping into here on the podcast to sort of talk about what the pivot has been as we've gotten going, what it's going to be, and just what it's meant to me as we've kicked it off, and why I've started doing this and what it's all about. This will probably be a short episode, and hopefully it'll be a fun one. So I thought I would talk about a couple things, what I'm thankful for this past year, what I'm looking forward to next year, which I guess is kind of like a New Year's resolution, and then some things that I've been learning and some things that I would like to learn. So to kick it off, here are some things that I'm thankful for this year. First of all, I have put out a lot of stuff in the world. My book, How to Remember, which was really exciting. My other book, my little prayer book, which is called Amen, 30-day prayer book. That was really fun. Hold the Light, my acoustic album, the best of kind of retrospective that's on vinyl and on, the DSPs. And then my Christmas album that just came out. That's also kind of an acoustic album. It's all Christmas hymns. It's a lot of stuff, probably too much stuff. The truth is that I didn't make any of that stuff this year. Almost. I made a little of it this year. I made almost all of it the last couple of years, and it all just came out this year. So I had a lot of conversations with people where they were like, "You are so productive. Oh my gosh, you're just making all this stuff." And the truth is, I made a lot of things for a long time that had no way to come out, and then they just sort of stacked up, and I was finally like, I've got to get this stuff out or I won't be able to do anything else. I've got to just get these piles off the desk so I can do something else. So it was nice to get that music out and to get these books out, all things I'm really proud of and excited about. And now I get the chance to start afresh. Also, I've been writing on the Substack, and that's been really fun. That's growing. People are continuing to subscribe every day, and that's so fun to see. People are supporting financially. It's not like paying my bills or anything, but it's paying like a couple bills every month, and that's really amazing to be able to write for you guys and to have that support something. And by a couple bills, I mean like, the Netflix bill. But still, that's huge and so helpful. I'm really, really grateful. I launched the YouTube page this year too, and that has not been that successful. And I'm learning from that too. We learn from our failures. I don't know if it's early enough to call it a failure, but it's not a success. Oh, it's not a success. Okay. All right. So there it is. Yeah, it is definitely not a success. So I got to figure out what do I want that to be? I see that YouTube is a place where a lot of people that I respect are doing a lot of cool things. And I know that I don't want to be a 60-year-old singer-songwriter playing house shows, which is, I don't have anything, there's nothing wrong with guys that do that. I know that that is not the way I am wired. And I love making music, but I also love having conversations and talking about ideas, and it feels like YouTube and Substack are places where those things can happen. And so, yeah, I don't want to give up on that, but I need to figure out what that looks like. So I'm going to keep exploring that, I guess. But for a while, I think it might just be the pivot. And that is the last thing that I have released this year. And that's been wonderful. People are still realizing it came out. I'm on tour right now, and every day I'm talking to people and say, "Oh, I missed your podcast." And I'm like, "Oh, it's back." I'm like, "Oh, that's great." But I love doing this. I love having conversations with people and just getting to talk to some of the most fascinating, incredible people. I talked to Kurt Thompson today for an hour. Who gets to talk to Kurt Thompson? That's incredible. That episode will come out next year, and that was awesome. And when I tell you the people we have lined up to talk to next year, I literally cannot believe it. some of my absolute heroes, authors and artists, people that I could not believe said yes. Just shocking. I am so excited and nervous. It's going to be so fun. But there were also some things that were not professional that were really exciting this year, some things I'm thankful for. My middle daughter went to college. Oh, Anchor Hymns became a nonprofit. That was really fun. There was a season there where I owned Anchor Hymns. I owned the brand, and I hated it. Anchor Hymns had started as a project from the record company, and then through a generous gift from a supporter, we were able to buy it out from the company after I didn't work there and none of the artists were there anymore and didn't feel like it needed to be at that company. We wanted to keep it going, and so we got this gift. We were able to buy it, but then all of a sudden, I owned it. It was in my name, and that just felt so dirty. And I know that most of the big companies are owned by people, and that's normal. But it just felt wrong. Like, I don't want my friends working for me in that way. Like, that just felt like that was not the spirit of the thing. It's supposed to be a community effort, that this is a group of people who are gathering together in community to write songs for the church. And the more it can be free from any sort of empire, any sort of ambition, the more it gets to be holistic and gets to be what it needs to be. And it became more and more clear that we could do that if we made it a nonprofit. And so, yeah, we got to do that. We have a great board, which I'm so thankful for. Some of those folks are people that you know of, like Sandra McCracken and Charlie Peacock are on our board. And we have some music industry people that you guys might not be familiar with, but that have meant a lot to me in my career. And some other supporters and people that are just really wise and thoughtful and really helpful. And so I'm so thankful that we get to keep doing that. We got a grant from Samford University this year that's letting us make an album, 2 albums next year. And we're talking to some other folks about potential grants. And it's cool that we get to keep doing that free of being a part of a record company. So what a gift that is. But yeah, so we sent our middle daughter to college. That's what I was talking about. My oldest daughter's in college. Our youngest is in 8th grade. And Allison, my wife, who, is dealing with cancer, we're still in that. And that's a long, long, long journey. It's still really hard. Really hard. She's doing a little bit better. Not like a lot better, but a little bit better than a year ago. And we're really grateful for that. There are things she's able to do this year that a year ago we would have been shocked. And so that's good. Still can't drive, still can't work, still can't do a lot of things that I know she would love to do. And, it's still really challenging and still in a just ton of pain. Chemo every week, it is not easy. It is not easy. And I thank you so much for your prayers. I get emails and messages from people a lot that folks are praying for us. And I am so grateful, so thankful. I know that we're not the only people going through that stuff. I get emails and messages about that stuff too. I know that suffering is a normal part of the human life, and it sucks. And it is good to know that we are not alone, but it sucks. I'm thankful that my kids are doing well in it, and that Allison has good friends that have surrounded her and are caring for her. So thank you guys for caring for us in that. So those are things that I'm thankful for this year. Some things that I'm looking forward to next year. I am starting to work on another book project that I've told a few friends about, and I will talk to you about more next year because I want to talk about it on here and be sharing it with you as I work on it. Because I think I'm probably going to self-publish it, and I've got some plans in place for that. And I want to keep you up to date on it, but I'm going to talk about it in the new year. So I'm not going to talk about it here now because that's kind of a deal I made with myself. I'm going to talk about it next year, but I'm going to tell you now that I've started working on a new book project, and I want to involve you guys in that and keep you up to date. And I think it'll be fun to let you in on that as I make it, because it's more of a resource than a narrative book. So I'm excited to get to make that for you and with you. But as far as other things, I'll keep doing the podcast and the Substack. I hope to be making more music. That means I need to stop doing some things. I spin too many plates, and I am not great at managing my time. I need to be better at that. That's always my New Year's resolution, and it's always a thing I fail at. But I definitely need to find some things I can let go of. YouTube is probably one of those things. I don't know exactly what that looks like, but I know that rest is so important. That is a thing I am learning more and more, especially as I do these interviews. I hear other people's stories, and what you just find over and over is that community is so important and rest is so important. And when we get busy and spin too many plates, the things that immediately disappear are community and rest. We isolate, and we ignore the Sabbath, and we just work by ourselves. That's what I do. And all of a sudden, I start to think that I'm the reason everything is working or not working, and I can do it all myself, and everything hinges on me, and it doesn't. I start trusting in myself and not God. I'm leaning on myself and not those around me, and I burn out, and that's not good. It's not good for me. It's not good for anyone around me, my family, my friends. It doesn't let me make better things. You'd think I would learn this, but I keep doing it over and over. And so this is a good time of year where you just have to pause a little bit, and you get a chance to rethink, look at your schedule, look at your priorities, look at the things you're planning on doing, and say, what can I stop? How can I reschedule my time? How can I rebuild my weeks, my nights? How can I build in time for rest, time for friendship? Which I'm pretty good personally about building in time for friendship. That's part of my daily routine of walking around the lake every day. I usually do that with a person. And so I'm usually with a friend for an hour most days, which is a gift. Or I'm by myself, and either one of those is a gift. But I definitely do not rest well. And I would love to make more music. And so who knows? I need to figure some of that out. Part of the problem is that to do long form writing these days means you have to do short form writing. You got to do Substack, which I like. So it's like you get to do long form writing, right? You got to do short form writing. And to do short form writing, you got to do social media. And social media sucks. I hate it. I genuinely hate it. Instagram, Facebook, all that. I've quit most of it. This past year, I stayed off it almost completely. I hired a friend to help me with it. But I can't keep doing that financially. I had to let that go. So I need to probably do it again, but I don't know that it works. I'm pretty convinced it doesn't work, except that sometimes it does. So I don't know. But I hate it. And I genuinely don't know what to do about that. Well, there've got to be, I don't know. Sometimes it's like, can AI help there? Can that be what AI does? Can that take the work I do that I like doing and chop it into things for social media so I don't have to spend my time making that stuff and I can spend my time making the things I want to make? I don't want AI making movies for me or writing books for me or writing deep thoughts for anyone. I think that's stupid. I want AI to mow my yard or to make Instagram posts for, I guess, other Instagram bots to see. I don't know who's even doing that. But can AI be doing things so that we can be making the things we want to make, doing the things we want to do? Can the robots serve us that way? Those are some things I probably need to research, because I bet in some ways they are. So Who knows? Anyway, that's I can stop talking about that on here. So yeah, YouTube has been a fun experiment that has not paid off yet. We'll keep doing it for sure with the pivot. Hopefully, maybe some way musically. Not sure about other things right now. Yes, I think maybe one of the biggest things that I have been learning this year is just that you can't give what you don't have. Things like rest, things like community. It's hard to offer those things for other people when you don't have them yourself. I often find myself in those places. I think the other question that I am asking this year is, what shape do I want my work to take? You know, when I was, I think probably 21, we were making the third Normals record, and I was the singer-songwriter of that band. I was the rhythm guitar player. We had a great other guitar player. I didn't need to be the best guitar player. And I remember the producer, who was the legendary producer, offered to maybe show me some of the things that my vocal was going through, the microphone and the preamps and all this stuff that now I would just love to know. And I was like, I don't need to know that stuff. I just want to sing my songs, man. And at the time, I thought my creativity, I thought my work was just this one thing. I thought it took this one shape. And now the older I get, the more I realize that our work just is not so limited. And what I learned from writing songs, I can use when I'm managing a team. And what I learned from managing a team, I can use when I'm creating a slide deck. What I use from creating a slide deck, I can use when I'm EQing a snare drum. What I use from EQing a snare drum, I can use when I'm parenting my kids. What I use from parenting my kids, I can use when I'm putting together a budget. You know, like all these different things that we pour ourselves into, like we learn from them and we grow from them. And even our creative selves and our work selves, and sometimes those are the same, sometimes those are different, they just are not so limited. Particularly those of us who are creative professionally, it's fun to realize that I'm not primarily a singer-songwriter. I am a human who makes things, and I make things in that shape sometimes, and then other times I make things in this shape. And that's what allows you to write books and to make albums and to make videos and to people can act, people can dance, people can do whatever the things they're going to do. I get that now. I didn't get that when I was younger. But you do have to make decisions. And what shape do you want your work to take? I've been an executive. I've been a consultant. I've been a musician. I've been an author. Right now, for me, all those doors are kind of open-ish. And I have to decide, where do I want to put my energy? Where do I want to focus? Where do I want to try to spend my time? Do I want to spend it in church music? Do I want to spend it in my own creativity? Do I want to spend it gathering teams? Do I want to spend it down in my basement making things on my own? And there's no right or wrong answer. That's the other thing. I don't think God is necessarily even saying, like, you must do this. I think he's saying, I've made you with these and given you these gifts, given you these resources. And how would you like to use them? Where would you like to make things with me, for me? How do you want to contribute to my kingdom? And that's a different way of operating than I think I used to operate. And so, but I do want to seek his guidance. And so I'm asking those questions a lot right now. You may be asking those questions of yourself too. Finally, I want to be better at inviting regular spiritual practices into my life. I've written a book about these things. I study these things. I'm still not great at practicing them. They don't always come naturally to me. And that's a lot of what this new book project that I'm going to be working on is about. And half the reason that I want to write this is because it'll force me to do it. And I want this in my life. So practicing morning prayer and evening prayer and learning more about the history of those things and connecting with forms of ancient prayer practices that Christians have been doing for centuries and centuries And that's something that I just want to grow in. And so not just learning more about it, but connecting more with God through that. And so that is, I guess you could call it a New Year's resolution, but it's just what is on my heart and on my mind all the time that I want to be growing in. So finally, I would love to ask you those same questions that I've just processed here on this little podcast. And so I've got some questions for you. I've got 3 sets of questions, 3 sets of sort of pairs of questions. So the first is, looking back at this year, what are you thankful for? And looking forward to the new year, what are you hopeful for? What are you thankful for? What are you hopeful for? And then when you look at this past year, what have you learned this past year? What are you learning? And then this is something that I've never asked really until this year. What do you want to learn in the new year? What are things that you want to explore about yourself, about the world, about God, about your friends, about the community, about the work you do? What are things that you are curious about? What do you want to be learning? How can you do that? And then finally, what can you stop doing? What are the things that are taking your time that if you stop them, you can use your time to do something else? There is so much of my time that I waste doing things I wish I wasn't doing. I can stop doing those things. It's easier to say than it is to do, weirdly. But what can we stop doing? And then, what practices can we invite into our lives to give us better rest and better communion with God and others? So what can we stop doing? And what practices can we invite into our lives to give us better rest and better communion with God and with others? So those are the questions for you guys, what we've just processed here. Thank you so much for watching this, listening to this, whatever you've done, for supporting the podcast, the Substack, my music, the book, all the different things, all the different ways that you may have connected with me this year. Thanks for supporting my community, my friends, so many folks around us that are making just beautiful music and art and inspiring great thoughts and conversation. We are in a world that does not always value great conversation. We're in a world that likes to pit people against one another, that likes to assume the worst of everyone, and assume that we have to be enemies with people who might see the world a little differently, as opposed to realizing that we can be shaped by people who see things a little differently, and that we ourselves might need to see things a little differently, and we might need to grow and change, and that is actually healthy and mature. And I hope that I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago. I hope I grow, and I hope I change. I hope I'm becoming more like Christ, and I hope I'm becoming more selfless, and I hope that means I'm less like the people we usually see on the news. So yes, thank you for being on that journey with me and with my community. Thanks for, again, supporting. If you do on the Substack, especially those of you that support financially, I shouldn't have said it that way. Thank you. Anyone who reads the Substack at all, supports any way you do, financially or otherwise. I'm grateful for all of it. We will not be back next week. I will be taking a couple of weeks off because I am going to practice rest. But we will be back in the new year with a shocking number of crazy, amazing guests. It's going to be wonderful. The Substack will be back. I will have a little bit more music out, and then I will not have music out for a little while. And I will tell you about my new book project. That's what I will be doing in the new year. I will not be touring because I can't. I will be doing a few events to speak and to teach about songwriting and church music and that kind of thing. If you're interested in having me come do that, give seminars and lectures and that kind of thing, or help your church or your community think about songwriting, give me a shout. You can do that on my website. Thank you all. You've made this a real gift of a year in what has been a tough year in some ways. Being able to work with you all and make things with and for you has been such a gift and a highlight. And I look forward to more of it in the new year. Blessings on you all. Get some rest. Spend some time with God and the people who you love and love you. Go do something awesome.